There are many men who have committed terrible crimes, but men are not the only gender capable of vicious acts. Witness the raw emotions and horrible stories as we dive into the lives of 8 female convicts reacting to their life sentences. Stay tuned for a journey that will leave you speechless. Erica Mae Butts and Shanita Latrice Cunningham may have had the most dramatic response in a Charleston courtroom to getting a life sentence. The 2 women from South Carolina wailed loudly and gasped for air as they fell to the ground. Another person who was clearly shocked by the verdict was Erica's mother. She yelled at her daughter to get up and started crying hysterically, so court staff had to carry her out of the room. Anyone who saw them would have felt bad for them and might have asked that their sentence be shortened. Still, when you think about how bad their act was, you can't help but agree that they might have deserved the death sentence. Young Serenity Richardson, then 3 years old, went to live with a lesbian couple in 2009 and was meant to stay there for at least 2 weeks. As Serenity's aunt, Erica was very close to the Richardson family. She was at the hospital when the little girl was born, but she didn't seem to care about these ties when she and her partner killed Serenity with a belt and plastic coat hangers because she had to go to the bathroom. Liz Gordon, assistant acting attorney for Charleston County, said, quote, "It's hard to find the right words to describe what these women did to that poor little girl." In an unexpected turn of events, Erica told the court that she was to blame for some things but not for the toddler's death. At the same time, Shayna's lawyer made a similar case, saying that Erica was an aggressive partner who wanted to be in charge. There was no way that Circuit Court Judge Deidre Richardson was going to put up with their shameless trading of blame. The judge said, "To ignore what must have been excruciating sounds that came from that child is more than disconcerting to this court. Because of this, the court thinks it is fair that each be sent to the State Department of Corrections for life."
What must have been the excruciating sounds that came from that child is more than disconcerting to this court. The court finds it appropriate that each be sentenced to the State Department of Corrections for a period of life.
With those words, she sealed their fate and caused what might have been the strangest response to a life sentence we've ever seen in court. Stay with me to witness this female convict's reaction of his sentence after being caught for this horrible crime.
Ever said that you were sorry for putting 6 bullets in Ryan Poston's body. In fact, what you said is that you hope to God he's burning in hell.
But let's move on to the next court case. Camia Gamet stood there emotionless and rolled her eyes several times during the court hearing that decided she would spend the rest of her life in jail. The 31-year-old woman was found guilty in March 2014 of killing her boyfriend, Marcel Hill, with direct force in the spring of 2012. She rejects the charges, saying that the lawyer lied during the hearing.
Basically, at trial, the way I was portrayed, mostly everything was lies. There was a little bit of truth, but mostly I was convicted off of lies.
Jackson County Circuit Judge John McBain was furious with her angry answer, her rude body language, and the bad things she did that got her in trouble in the first place. It is said that Gamet thought Marcel Hill was a dangerous attacker when she woke up in a pitch-black room to the sound of glass breaking over her head. "I was startled. I was confused because I couldn't see," Gamet said. Her evidence said that she grabbed a floor lamp and swung it around randomly, hitting the person she thought was attacking her at least once. Gant says that she fell to the ground and grabbed a knife, which she then used to hit the attacker 3 times in the chest. But the jury found her guilty of planned murder and gave her a life sentence in jail.
You gutted him like a fish in that apartment too. You were relentless. You stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed until he was dead.
When Keandra Cook, then 19-year-old, got a 20-year sentence in Florida for 3 charges: carjacking, attempted carjacking with a dangerous weapon, and felony battery, her mother and she got a lot of attention for how they reacted.
I'm going to go ahead and adjudicate you guilty of all 3 charges, sentence you to 20 years in state prison.
In March 2017, Cook was said to have used a relationship app to get Emmanuel Purcell to come to South Daytona. When Purcell got there, Miss Cook and her boyfriend Kendrick Bass were trying to steal his car. While they were fighting, Bass shot Purcell and seriously hurt him. It is said that Cook's defense team told her and her mother that she could avoid jail time by agreeing to the deal the prosecutors offered. Judge Foxman was very kind and let her take a new plea deal after she begged the court to believe her lawyer had lied to her. Cook gave a full apology to the victim and his family in court, saying, "I apologize for my actions to the victim's family and victims." Cook's jail term was cut from 12 years to 10.5 years as part of the deal for the new plea. Judge Foxman told Cook, "I think you have good in you, and potential. Don't lose sight of that. When Jodi Arias spoke in Phoenix, she shocked the court by saying things that made it sound like she wanted to be put to death.
It's my firm belief that death would bring me untold peace and freedom. That's my personal belief. If I died today, I would be free and I would be at peace.
A few minutes into her speech, though, she changed her mind and said she had to fight for her life.
But I had to fight for my life just like I did on June 4th, 2008, because I realized how selfish it would be for me to escape accountability for this mess that I've created.
After being found guilty of killing her ex-boyfriend, Arias asked for a new hearing. She told the judge that she wasn't given a fair hearing the first time the case was heard in 2008, but in the end, her request for a new hearing only brought attention to the bad things she had done. Arias killed 30-year-old Travis Alexander in a cruel way in June 2008. Rescuers found his body in the bathroom of his Arizona home. He had been shot in the face, stabbed several times, and had a cut in his neck from ear to ear. In this second trial, a group of 3 judges found that the first trial had major mistakes. Nevertheless, they also discovered strong proof that Arias Jodi was indeed the killer. Arias claimed that she killed Alexander with a gun, but her lawyer said that she did it in self-defense. The jurors said this wasn't true, but they couldn't agree on whether she should be put to death or not. Arias was given a life sentence without the chance to get out.
It is ordered. The defendant shall be incarcerated in the Department of Corrections for the rest of her natural life with no possibility of parole.
Arias said after the decision, "To this day, I still can't believe I was able to do something that bad. I'm really turned off and disgusted by myself. It makes me sick to think about what I did, and I wish I could take it back."
Sorry that my acts of self-defense ended up in court like this, but I take full responsibility for my actions. It was them or me. I am sorry for all the pain that my actions have caused. I am prepared to die if you say it is necessary.
From this beginning speech, it seemed like Aileen Wuornos is a guilty criminal who is ready to own up and take full responsibility for killing several people. Wuornos had been caught several times for smaller crimes like armed robbery, car theft, and check forgery before she was charged with murder. She didn't worry about anything and mostly worked as a prostitute. That being said, some of her clients got more than they expected. At least 7 men were killed by Wuornos between 1989 and 1990. Wuornos said she killed these guys in self-defense, but the jury didn't believe her.
I sentence you in case number 91-463 to death for the murder of Troy Burris. Case number 91-304. I sentence you to death for the murder of Charles Humphreys. Case number 91-112, Citrus County case number. I sentence you to death for the murder of David Spears.
Thank you. And probably see, I'll be up in heaven while y'all rotting in hell. May your wife and kids get raped. I knew I was raped. You ain't nothing but a bunch of stuff.
Wuornos was put to death by lethal injection in 2002. Before and after her sentence was revealed, she chose her words carefully. "I'd just like to say I'm sailing with the Rock, and I'll be back like Independence Day with Jesus, June 6th, like the movie Big Mothership. Everyone, I'll be back." Elizabeth Escalona. This is Elizabeth Escalona, a guilty criminal who killed her baby girl, Jocelyn Cedillo, when she was only 2 years old. As the infamous child killer was led to her place in court by a security officer, she looked lifeless. But it was only a matter of time before her expressionless face changed. Elizabeth couldn't stop crying when she saw pictures of the wounds and cuts she gave Jocelyn. Simply seeing Elizabeth cry after seeing the pictures tells you everything you need to know about the horrible things she did to her child in the hours before she died. During the court case in September 2011, Elizabeth was very critical of what she had done and even called herself a monster. "I hit her, I kicked her constantly, and she didn't deserve that," stated Escalona. "Only a monster does that." Judge Larry Michie gave Elizabeth Escalona a 99-year term and said that she had been a victim of sexual abuse in the past, which may have had an effect on her mental health. But he made it clear that even if that had happened, it wouldn't excuse Elizabeth, who was meant to be a mother, from hurting her own child in that way. Texas County Prosecutor Aaron Price told Escalona in court, "You brutally beat your child to the point of death, and Elizabeth lies to hide the evil." It was said that Elizabeth lost it with Jocelyn after she pooped her pants. Her other children say she hit Jocelyn very hard, and the cops confirmed that she did hit the baby with different things and stuck her hands to a wall. Several medical accounts say that this attack caused Jocelyn serious brain damage and other injuries. Elizabeth's response to these revelations was, "I have not much to add, and only God can judge me. That's all I have to say." Shaya Hubers. Shaya Hubers kept a straight face as she said she was sorry to her family and anyone else she may have hurt after shooting and killing her boyfriend Ryan Poston 6 times in 2012. During the hearing, lead lawyer Michelle Snodgrass was very angry with Hubers because the 21-year-old did not officially apologize to the victim's family at any time.
At one point in time, nor at any point in time have you ever said that you were sorry for for putting 6 bullets in Ryan Poston's body. In fact, what you said is that you hope to God he's burning in hell. Didn't you say that on a phone call?
Once she was tried twice, Shayna Hubers was found guilty of killing Ryan Poston both times. After a judge who ruled over the first hearing was found guilty of a crime, it was suggested that her case be tried again. Judge Daniel Zala, on the other hand, didn't see any reason to change the original term of life in prison. He wouldn't have changed his mind because Hubers didn't feel bad about what she did. Zala said, "Your actions that evening were grossly violent and intentionally calculated to cause his death." Hubers told the judge that Poston abused her and forced her to do sexual things all the time. She also said that the fact that she couldn't come was what ended their relationship. What the fuck? After looking closely at the text messages between them and their friends, the investigators decided that Poston was not guilty of these charges. David Eldridge, the defense lawyer, asked the judges to give his client at least 20 years in prison because she was mentally young, but it looks like the judge didn't see any sense in this case, so she gave her the highest period of time. Shelby Isaac. Judge James Lamey gave Shelby Isaac a term that was too heavy for her to handle. Someone who seems to be Shelby's lawyer was seen patting her on the back to try to calm her down. But as soon as the criminal heard the first verdict, she broke down in tears. Someone crying could be heard in the background. It was thought to be Shelby's mom.
Of second-degree murder as included in count 1. Signed by the foreperson of the jury. Mr. Aldridge, is that your verdict?
The judge didn't seem to mind her behavior, however. Even though Shelby was crying and lying on the floor, he kept reading the sentence without showing any feeling or care for what was going on in the courtroom. Watching this very emotional court case would have made anyone feel sorry for Shelby Isaac, even as staff tried to calm her down before taking her to the hospital. It's possible that she gets even more time than 30 years in prison because of how bad her act was. The trouble began in January 2016 when Shelby shot Eddie Tate Jr., co-owner of a nearby hair salon, and Edua Thomas, his pregnant spouse. Shelby, who was 18 at the time, often went to the business, but the business relationship allegedly came to an end on January 22, 2016, when she tried to get her money back for the hair extension she had bought earlier. Another person said that she had tried to steal the hair weaves from the store. The police confirmed that she shot Eddie and his girlfriend in the 2100 block of Westchester Circle, no matter what the case was. Eddie died at the scene of the crime, but Edua was taken to the hospital right away. Shelby was charged with and found guilty of first-degree murder for Eddie and reckless killing of an unborn child after she finally gave up. Victoria Say, a co-defendant, was also questioned during the investigation after it came to light that she helped Shelby Isaac get away from the scene of the crime.